Welcome to our online class 7, subject science. Today we are going to see two different topics. One will be the exothermic and endothermic change, and the second topic is periodic and non-periodic change. Now let us see what is meant by exothermic and endothermic change. So I think you all know what is meant by a chemical change, right? In case of physical change, there won't be any chemical composition of that substance, that is said to be the physical change. Whereas in case of any chemical change, there will be a change in its chemical composition, or a new compound or any new substance will be formed due to the chemical change, right? So in case of chemical change, you may able to see two different types of changes. One will be the exothermic and the second one will be the endothermic change. Now let us see what is meant by exothermic change. When you add soap powder into water, what can you able to feel in your hand? Yes, you may feel some warmness in your hand, right? So when you add water with soap powder, you may feel some warmness in your hand. So at that time, the change which occurs is said to be the exothermic change, which means heat will be liberated or heat will be released. That is said to be the exothermic change. The word thermal refers to heat and the word exo refers to, in this one, heat will be released. That is said to be exothermic change. Similarly, when you burn magnesium ribbon, it will gives out heat and light. So the heat is released in this condition, or in this example, while burning magnesium ribbon, heat will be released. That is said to be exothermic change. Similarly, burning of wood also releases heat and light. All these examples are said to be exothermic change, right? So if you see here, when you mix quicklime with water, what will happen? Heat will be liberated. So these are all the examples for exothermic change, right? Now let us see what is meant by endothermic change. There are some changes in which heat will be absorbed. What will happen? Heat will be absorbed. Such change is said to be the endothermic change, right? So when heat is absorbed due to any chemical change, then it is said to be endothermic change, which means heat will be absorbed. For example, water absorbs heat when it evaporates to form water vapor. Similarly, ice absorbs heat when it melts to form water. Such changes in which heat is absorbed are known as endothermic changes. Similarly, dissolution of glucose in water is also an endothermic change, right? So in case of exothermic change, what will happen? Heat will be released, while in case of endothermic change, heat will be absorbed. That is said to be the endothermic changes. Now let us see what is meant by periodic and non-periodic changes. So now let us move into the first one, that is periodic change. Changes that repeat themselves after a definite period of time is said to be periodic change. So in case of periodic change, it is said to be the change that repeat themselves after a definite interval of time is said to be periodic change. For example, rotation and revolution of earth, beating of heart, clock striking every hour, and then motion of second hand or minute hand or hour hand in a clock is said to be periodic changes. So in a periodic change, what will happen? The change will repeat after a particular time. That is said to be the periodic change. Now let us see non-periodic changes. So in this one, the change will not repeat themselves after a particular interval of time is said to be non-periodic change, and it do occurs randomly. That is said to be the non-periodic change. So in case of periodic change, the change will occur after particular time is said to be periodic change, while in case of non-periodic change, it won't repeat or it does not repeat themselves after particular interval of time is said to be non-periodic change, and it do occurs randomly, or it may occur randomly. For example, you may say eruption of volcano, or occurrence of an earthquake, or striking or lighting flash across the sky during a thunderstorm, running of a batsman between the wickets, and movement of legs while dancing. They are all examples for non-periodic change, which means it can't able to repeat themselves after particular interval of time is said to be the non-periodic changes. So today in this class we have seen exothermic change, endothermic change, and then periodic change and non-periodic changes, right? So these are all the examples for periodic change, which means hour hand, minute hand in a clock, and then heartbeat. They are all the examples for periodic change. While in case of non-periodic change, thunderstorm and then curdling of milk, they are all said to be the non-periodic changes, right? And then rusting of iron is also an example for the non-periodic changes. Now we shall move into the today's home fun. Your first question is what is exothermic and endothermic change? Second question is what are periodic and non-periodic changes, right? Thank you, children.